Golden sunlight streamed through the towering glass windows of the ballroom, scattering warmth across polished marble floors. A soft symphony floated through the air, violins painting a dream of love, forever, and promises that weren't supposed to exist. Cameras flashed, laughter echoed, and the guests admired the radiant bride standing at the altar. But beneath the delicate lace and glittering jewels, Laya's heart was trembling. To everyone watching, this was the perfect wedding. To her, it was a performance, a favor, a beautiful illusion. She stood in a gown worth more than anything she'd ever owned, surrounded by flowers that reeked of luxury and lies. The man beside her, Ethan Vale, was a name whispered across business headlines, a millionaire with ice in his veins and power in his eyes. She had agreed to be his bride for one day, to play a role in a wedding that wasn't meant to be real, in exchange for enough money to save her sick mother. It was supposed to be simple. No strings, no emotions, no truth. When they first met, Ethan spoke like a man closing a deal. Distant, precise, but in his eyes, behind the walls of control, Laya caught fleeting moments of sorrow, as if he carried a past he couldn't escape. She didn't ask questions. She only needed the money. As the ceremony began, Laya forced herself to smile. The priest spoke vows she never thought she'd hear, words that felt like lies wrapped in silk. Ethan slipped the ring onto her trembling hand, his touch steady but unreadable. Cameras flashed. Applause rose. Then, just as the officiant declared them husband and wife, Ethan leaned close. His breath brushed her ear. His voice broke into a whisper. "Nothing is fake, Laya. It's all real." The world seemed to stop. Her smile faltered. Her pulse thundered. He wasn't supposed to say that. She turned toward him and saw it. The cold mask was gone. In his eyes burned something raw, honest, and frighteningly real. The rest of the day blurred by. Laya smiled for the guests, her mind spinning with confusion. Every time he looked at her, she felt a pull, gentle but undeniable. What did he mean? Why did his voice shake when he said it? When the guests were gone and the ballroom lay quiet beneath the fading sunset, Laya finally asked. And that was when the truth came out. Months ago, Ethan had been engaged to a woman who left him days before the wedding, leaving his heart shattered and his reputation in ruins. The press mocked him, investors doubted him, and his board demanded stability. To save his empire, he needed to appear married, even if it was fake. But then, he met Laya. She wasn't glamorous or rich. She was humble, kind, real, everything his world wasn't. Somewhere between the contract and the ceremony, Ethan realized he didn't want it to be pretend anymore. He had fallen for the woman meant only to play his wife. Laya didn't know how to react. Her heart was torn, caught between gratitude, confusion, and something dangerously close to love. So she walked away. Days passed. Weeks blurred. She avoided his calls, needing space to breathe. Her mother recovered, her debts disappeared, and for the first time in years, Laya could dream again. Yet, every night she thought of him, of that whisper that still echoed in her mind. It's all real. Then, one morning, a letter arrived. No diamonds, no grand gesture, just a handwritten note. Ethan apologized, not for loving her, but for taking her choice away. He confessed he had canceled a billion-dollar merger after realizing what truly mattered. The note ended with one simple line. If you ever choose love over fear, I'll be waiting at the old chapel. At noon, tears filled her eyes as she pressed the letter to her heart. That same afternoon, she drove to the chapel, where sunlight once again danced through the stained glass, casting colors of hope across the aisle. Ethan stood there, no cameras, no crowd, just him, waiting. When she approached, he whispered softly, "This time, I'm not asking you to pretend." Her lips trembled. She didn't need to answer. The truth was already in her eyes. Weeks later, they had a small ceremony, simple, pure, real. Her mother gave her away. When Laya said, "I do," she meant it with every beat of her heart. As sunlight streamed through the windows once more, Ethan leaned close and whispered the same words, but this time, She understood them completely. Nothing will ever be canceled. Because love, when it's real, doesn't need a contract to last. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to HOA Chronicles. Your support helps us share more stories of love, redemption, and the miracles that hide in everyday moments. Tell us in the comments, do you believe true love can start from something that wasn't meant to be real?